I've known Gerard Butler for a number of years, and we've been trying to work together and find the right project. And I get this call out of the blue from him, and he said, we want to make a third movie for the Fallen franchise, but I really want you to come aboard and put your stamp on it and not repeat what we did. Take the essence of what the first two movies were, this big action-packed spectacle, but create it and spin it in a new direction, something that can feel not like a sequel, but a new installment that can embrace what the first two movies brought, so that it can become an origin story, so to speak, for the fan base, but it could also be an entry point into the franchise for those that weren't familiar with the first two movies. There's two qualities that I always loved about Mike Banning, and I think that, in a sense, is what Gerard Butler infuses into the character. One is he will not quit. He is a Terminator to the point of, if you break every single bone in his body and there's one bone left that can actually crawl forward, he will figure a way to crawl forward. And so it's that relentless pursuit that I think is what a scary thing is for the enemy, and that we love about Mike Banning. But it's also a person of truth. I love that he's always been matter of fact and straightforward, even when it comes to violence. Violence is the only thing that he's known, and we really wanted to go in depth more about when you are trained to become a lion, the way that our special operations forces are in the military, and become these predators where you are hunting down the enemy and protecting our country. Once you unleash somebody as a lion, it's very hard to make them a domestic house cat again. There's a tremendous amount of responsibility of saying yes to come into this franchise. One, you don't want to screw it up. And I don't mean that in any humorous way. This is a very successful franchise that has a lot of fans to it. So what you want to do is not steal away the love and the appreciation that they had for the franchise. You want to embrace it in a way that they feel like they're getting their cake and eat it too, that you are giving them the action-packed ride, you're giving them the spectacle, you're giving them the essence of Mike Banning and the characters that they have fallen in love with, and then now spinning them in a new direction, creating more complexity, adding different layers of depth, and to where you can have this heartfelt ride, really be embraced and empathetic into these characters and on the journey with them, and feel like you're a part of the action where you're experiencing it as they are. From day one, when we started Angel Has Fallen, and I said this to Jerry, and it started with a man named Mickey Nelson, who we brought in, who is a 28-year career Secret Service member, was the real Mike Banning. He guarded forward presence all the way through Obama. And I talked to him and I said, I want this movie to feel like it's a day in the life. It's a day in the life of a Secret Service agent. It's a day in the life of a career service member. It is a day in the life in the White House, and in the world that we live in today. For the FBI, for everybody, that they're all really humanized in the way that we understand the complexities of their daily lives, their jobs, and what they do. And we brought that to all the departments in the movie. It was literally the theme that I made sure that was just embedded in everybody's heads, that make it real, make it grounded, to the point that Mickey Nelson is walking with the art department and talking about the real layout of the Oval Office and how all the modern day presidents have kept challenge coins behind their desk, because that's what they've all done. When Gerard Butler called me and wanted me to come in and do a third film in this franchise, we talked about making an origin story, so that we would take the essence of the first two movies and that big action-packed spectacle and not have them be event films per se, or event plots, I should say, where they are not about the taking of the White House, which drives the plot, or the assassination of the world leaders, which drives the plot in London Has Fallen. But this time, have the man drive the plot, so that you, one, get a structure that can really allow space to learn who Mike Banning is and what makes him tick. But also, we're meeting him in a place that he is facing inevitable reality, which is that we all meet a point in time in our lives of the point of retirement, Should we give up what we do for a living, especially for people that are in these adrenaline type jobs, physical type jobs where your physicality matters? And of course, a Secret Service agent, there's nothing more specific than that, of can you still be at the level of protection that you need to be to guard our world's leaders? And Mike is facing all of these challenges. And not only is he hiding secrets, but is he also lying to himself? And that internal conflict, I think, is what's really interesting about this movie. And that was the setup, was to put Mike Banning in a moment of self-discovery. If you look at the films that I've made, humor is not something that you'd probably see a lot. And when I took on this film and talked about really trying to make a day in the life of a career service member, the one thing that I know about our military, any military around the world for that matter, or law enforcement or first responders, is they're in these very high pressure jobs. A tremendous amount of violence and carnage and mayhem is always around them. And they all use levity as a way to release the pressure. Otherwise we'd all internally explode. And so for me, I knew that levity was always going to be a part of Angel Has Fallen in this ride, but I never wanted to go for the joke. I wanted to always be from an organic place. And so when you get somebody like Nick Nolte, who comes in and he's playing everything from true authenticity, and the jokes or the humor or the levity comes from a father and son trying to reunite and scolding a grown man like he's a 2-year-old. Again, the first 2 films had a tremendous amount of action, something that we wanted to maintain and try to even go further with it. As many know, my place of origin in this business was in the stunt world. And I had developed cameras and developed ways of shooting action to try to put the audience inside the action, to put them in what would have been my point of view, feeling like what it would be like to be in a car chase, what it would like to be in explosions or to fall through, the space, or through the air. And I wanted to infuse that in this movie in a way that you still got the big visceral ride of the first 2 movies, but this time you were a participant in the action. You felt like you were a part of what was happening. When we have the attack on the president in this drone sequence, you are inside this drone attack and you are sensing everything that the characters are feeling, and you're also witnessing the characters being involved in it. So you have an emotional connection to the characters and their jeopardy, but you also have your own connection to the action itself. And I thought that was a way to make the movie more intimate and do an action movie from the inside out. So it always came from a personal point of view so that you got to participate versus just being a voyeur watching something on the screen. I've had a dear friend and mentor of mine for over 30 years named Vic Armstrong. This was Indiana Jones. This is the guy that did all the Indiana Jones and did Star Wars and all the James Bonds, and a director in his own right. And he was absolutely by far the only person that I knew I needed to have my back and to be my co-collaborator in this film. And it was great to call him and just hear nothing but, yes, when do we start? Jerry, first of all, is a tremendous actor that I have a lot of respect for. And of course, a big movie star at the same time. A lot of times they don't go hand in hand. And he's the whole package. And what I like about Jerry is his honesty, and that he is fearless in exposing the flaws that we wanted Mike Banning to have, to show his struggles, to show his hardships. And you never know if your chemistry with an actor is going to be there. You think it could be, you hope it could be, and then you finally sit down together and it's there or it's not. And we knew right away that we had it, that there was this bond between us that would allow us to fight like brothers, to find great solutions. And what I love about Jerry is he pushed me as much as I pushed him. And we were both very honest to the point of being frank about how to raise the bar and make something really special. I hope the audience of Angel Has Fallen experiences not only a huge action-packed thrill ride, but they are emotionally invested in the story at the same time, that we have given you the same visceral experience of the first 2 movies, and we've now personalized it in a way that it is an origin story about Mike Banning and these band of characters some new, some previous, that that inhabit this world that we live in, of this franchise, and you endear for them, you're empathetic for them, you root for them, and you're on this ride with them where you're emotionally gripped in the action spectacle itself versus just being watching things blow up that has no bearing on you. And I think that hopefully you get to back and and pop back some popcorn and hang out and just have a big kick-ass ride and have a laugh, have a scare, shed a tear. The performances are just astounding in this movie, and everybody came from a very truthful place. So hopefully we've given you the whole thing, where you get a well-rounded experience at the movies.
Hey guys, did you know that the top 5 most expensive movies ever made are Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens at number 5, Avengers Age of Ultron at number 4, Pirates of the Caribbean at the World's End number 3, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides at number 2, and coming in at number 1 is Avatar. Now click here below to subscribe for more great content, and on the side if you want to watch another video.